Hey there, ghostly guys and gals. It's Ghost here, and welcome to part 13, lucky, unlucky number 13 for the Story of My Life series. So, in our last episode, we were talking about my relationship with Serenity and how I lost my job and all that. And when we had just left off, we were talking about how I was going to go to an inpatient facility in Florida, hopefully to get some treatment and maybe like follow that up with some dialectical behavioral therapy. And so we were going to get that set up, and we are going to go to this place out in about like around I think like the Fort Lauderdale area of Florida. And me and my mom flew out there together, and we kind of went to this facility, and they were just like, okay, yeah, so this is the facility. They gave us a tour, and then yeah, my mom just left me there. And the plan originally was for me to stay there a month, and it seemed like a pretty nice facility. I mean, I was kind of upset because I need to have like a roommate. Thankfully, though, I only had a roommate for like 2 days. Like the first day I was there, the roommate was kind of there, and then he left. I think the day after that, and then like the very last day I was there, I had a roommate. But in any case, I was supposed to be there for a month. I only ended up staying there for 5 days. So yeah. And what happened with that was, so I went to this facility, and it was not what I had hoped. Like it was a nice facility in the sense that it was like the accommodations were nice and all that. It was a part like psychiatric ward slash rehab facility, and it was like very nice place. And yeah, so that was all good, though the food there was kind of subpar, so that wasn't great. But you see, it wasn't anything like when I went to the hospital the first time. First off, I was very, very young compared to a lot of the people there. And that's not necessarily a bad thing per se, but uh, I was very, like, one of the things that I really liked about when I was at the hospital the first time was that there were a lot of people my age. And I think the closest person to my age who I met there was like 27 or 28 or even older. There was just a lot of old people there, and well, older, I should say, like a lot of people in their 40s and 50s and 60s and all that. And it was a lot less regimented. Like they didn't wake you up. They didn't. They just. It was just like you could go to these like weird therapy session thingies if you wanted to. And I didn't think that they were very well led. And I thought it was pretty dumb. I didn't. I thought it was pretty stupid. And yeah, but thankfully, what happened was, oh yeah, an important note. I didn't get to have my phone there either. Like I didn't get to have my phone just like at the last place, and I didn't. Even though it was a nice place, I didn't get to have my phone or anything, so that sucked too. They did have a TV in my room though, so that was cool. That was cool. But anyway, it was. I did not like being there. It was awful. But thankfully for me, there was something with the insurance, and it did not cover this facility. And basically, they were like, okay, my mom was like, okay, we're gonna have to leave. You're gonna have to leave this place. And I was just like, oh, fine by me. you know, this place sucked. Um, and yeah, so basically, I had found that out like 2 days in that like the insurance wasn't working. I was gonna have to leave, and it took like 3 days for my flight to like get book my flight and all that. So for 3 days, I just kind of for most of the time I was there. All I did was just sit in my room the whole time and watch Doctor Phil. So I mean, yeah, that's basically what I did the whole time. And yeah, so I left, and I flew for the first time by myself back home to New Orleans, and yeah, it was kind of a bust. My mom kind of was like, maybe we can, you could stay out in Florida, and there's another facility nearby, and you can go to that. But I was just like, I was done. I was like, no, no, mom, I'm not doing this again. No. Um, and I kind of left the facility. Like, you might think I didn't get anything out of it, but I actually did. And I got something out of it in the sense that I was just so fed up with like this, treatment stuff, and I was like, none of this stuff ever helps. I need to take charge of my life, and I need to, do stuff for myself. So I was like, screw all this stuff, inpatient stuff, and therapy, and all this stuff. I'm just gonna actually get my life together with brute force. So I was like, yeah, on the plane ride back, I was like, I'm gonna go back home and I'm gonna not kill myself and I'm gonna look for jobs like harder because I kind of stopped looking for jobs once I found out I was gonna go to this inpatient facility, and So basically, I had given up at that point. I was like thinking I'm either gonna go to this facility and then it's not gonna work. And I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna kill myself, or I'm gonna go to this facility and it's gonna work, and then I'll come back and I'll do whatever. And I guess it didn't necessarily work, but it just motivated me because I was like, I don't want to have to go through any more of this. So I was like, screw it all, I'm getting back on track. And I was like so confident for some reason I was gonna get these jobs. I don't know why, because I hadn't had any luck before. But I was just like, I'm gonna get these jobs, and I'm gonna like look for all these jobs and stuff, and yeah. And I was so confident that I even threw away those, remember those poisonous seeds? I actually had like taken them from my old apartment. I brought them to the new apartment just in case. So I actually was like, I don't need these poisonous seeds. Screw them. And I threw them away. Uh, I think I kind of regret that decision, or maybe not. I guess depending on how I look at it, it's either a good or a bad thing. You'll see why in a bit. So anyway, it didn't work. I didn't get any jobs. I didn't get any interviews, and I was just like, well, dang, what do I do now? So it was like, I think it was September or October, and I was like, I'm running out of money. My lease is almost over. My bank account is almost completely drained. Like, what am I supposed to do? I was like, I can't go back to college. I already failed that twice. And I was like, I can't get, I'm not able to get any jobs. And I'm going to have to move back in with my mom and my stepdad. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do that. And I was just like, I completely ruined my life. It's over. Like, what do I have? What else do I have to do at this point? So I was just like, screw it all. We're going to, I'm going to kill myself. This is the end. I'm going to kill myself. So I did all these little preparations before I died. Like, uh, I dyed my hair blue because that was something I always wanted to do. And I went clothes shopping and I bought all these clothes. I actually bought this hoodie uh, to maybe kill myself in because I was like, I had this idea that I wanted to look cool when I died. So I was like, I bought all these nice clothes or whatever that I wanted so I could look cool when I died. I even thought about getting my ears pierced and getting a tattoo and all these crazy things. But I mean, the ear piercing thing, I kind of like backed out at the last minute because I saw that like the place, I don't know, it looked like it was only for girls or something. I'm sure guys could have gotten their ears pierced there, but I just felt like self conscious, and I was kind of like, I'm just not gonna get my ears pierced. And for the tattoo, I was just like, I don't really want a tattoo that bad anyway. I just kind of thought of it as a little bucket list kind of thing to do before I died, but I was just like, forget it. So I was in my, apartment with my blue hair and my nice outfit. It wasn't this, I wasn't wearing this hoodie, but I did buy this hoodie on my little suicidal shopping spree. But, so, I was in my nice little outfit, my blue hair and everything, and I was ready to die. Um, the only problem was the method I chose was not very effective. So, I was looking up ways to kill myself, and I was like, I wanted to just shoot myself, right? Because that's easy. It's just like quick, it doesn't really hurt. It's pretty lethal, all that. But like I said, if you're not 21, it's kind of weird, and I didn't understand the process of getting a gun, and I was just like, I don't think this is gonna work. So then I was just like, I'm just gonna look for another method to kill myself. So then I ended up like finding out that cherry seeds actually contain cyanide, and if you chew on them or like grind them, you can get cyanide poisoning. So I was like, oh, well, that's perfect. So I went to the store and I bought some cherries, and then I like, ate them, and I put the seeds, like I spat out the seeds, and like I mashed them with like I think it was like a cup or a bowl or something into like little pieces, and I put them in a tea, and then I drank the tea, and then I also just like ate the pieces too, just to be sure that like maybe the tea would, like, I don't know, take away the poisonous effect or something. So I ingested like a bunch of cherry seeds, and it's like the article I read said that it would only take like 15 cherry seeds, and I was doing like 30 cherry seeds. So like this will definitely kill me. I put on a little death playlist I had, and I went to go sit in my bed, and I was like, I made preparations for my sister to come to my apartment the next day to visit me. But really, I just wanted her to find my body so it wouldn't decay too much or whatever. I had suicide notes all prepared, and I unlocked the door so my sister would just be able to get into the apartment without having to break the door down or whatever. And I laid down to bed, had my little death playlist, and I was like, I'm ready to die. Except it never happened. I went through the whole playlist and I felt completely fine. I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel short of breath. I didn't feel like I was sleepy. I didn't feel like my heart was, beating slower or faster or whatever. And I was just like, is this not working? And I think like I looked up, like I looked at the cherry seed, like I looked at the cherries I bought, and then I think I looked up what kind of cherry seeds were poisonous, and I think I got like the wrong cherries or something, and the seeds were harmless. So I was like, well, that's great. So I'm not gonna die. Yay! I'm gonna live. So at that point, I was just kind of like, hmm, I don't know. I guess I'll just go to bed or whatever. And I did, and I woke up the next morning. I didn't die, for better or for worse. And my sister came over. We just kind of talked, and I was honest with her. I was like, Emily, I tried to kill myself and stuff. And she's just like, oh my gosh, why would you do that and all this stuff? And I was just like, yeah, I think though that it's kind of a sign maybe that this didn't work, and I think I'll give life one more good, honest, hard try. So that's what I decided to do. And I was like, I'm gonna go back to school, I think, and I'm gonna like find a job or something, and I'm gonna work it out. I'm gonna go. I know I'm gonna have to live back with my mom and my stepdad, but I'm gonna get through it. And yeah, and I also got this idea in my head that you know, I really wanted to just try and get everything on my life back on track. And I thought, what better way to like get my life back together than you know getting back together with Ophelia. Because when I was with her, I was happy and stuff, and I've been kind of chasing that high ever since. So I was like, I'm gonna like work on myself for like a few months to try and get like impress her. So I started studying Vietnamese. Like I feel kind of bad. Maybe I wish I would have done this when we were together, but I never like really made an effort to try and study Vietnamese when I was with her. Um, they didn't. I don't think they had a Duolingo course at the time, and also I was like studying Japanese at the time in my free time still. So I was kind of like, yeah, I think it might be hard to do that at the same time. But anyway, I started learning Vietnamese. I started dieting and exercising, all that, and I looked for jobs. And I did get a job briefly at a Chili's restaurant, but it was a lot harder than I expected. I got a job as a to-go specialist, and I thought it would just be easy. Like I thought all I would have to do was just like hand people these orders basically, but I had to like make the orders and to do it really fast. And like I didn't have to make the food, but I had to like put the orders in the right boxes and like put them in the right like put them together in the right like areas and such. And my coworkers were kind of jerks, so it was just awful. And I only worked there for like 5 days, and then I quit. I didn't even quit. I was just like so. I just was so done with that job that I just like played dead. I was just like, I'm just gonna pretend I died in a car accident or something. Uh, so I just ghosted them. Like they texted me and called me and stuff, and I just, you know, didn't answer them, and never went back to that work. Never went back to that job. So yeah, uh, maybe kind of a jerk move on my part, but that job was awful, and I never do the right thing. I'm always stupid and crazy and selfish and all this stuff. So yeah, so that was bad. I did lose that. I did have that little hiccup, and my mom was really upset about that, but she wanted me to get a job before I went back to school because I was thinking I want to go back to college in the spring in January of 2023. And she was like, well, you need to work so you can prove to me that you can actually, you know, go to college. You won't just fail out immediately again. And I was like, okay, that's fair. And I got this job at the Chili's, and then it, completely didn't work. So she was really mad at me, and she was like, I'm not gonna let you go back to school, until you get a job, and I'm not gonna let you go back in the spring. The earliest I'm gonna let you go back is like the summer. And I was really upset about it, and I was just like, but I was like at the same time I was like, this is kind of fair. Like I already failed a bunch of times, and my scholarship was completely gone by this point, so she would have to be paying out of pocket. I mean, well, not out of pocket. Like she had money saved, and she like I'm very fortunate in that UNO is a pretty cheap university for us, and my mom can afford the tuition for like 4 years basically with the money she saved, and I'm very thankful for that because without that, I don't even know what I would do. I guess I would get another job maybe. So, I mean, that was still something in my head. I was like thinking maybe I'll get another job. I also thought about going to trade school, maybe like becoming a welder or something like that. I kind of didn't know what to do at the time. I didn't know if I did actually want to go to college. Uh, so I think my sister came back. I heard something. Anyway, I didn't know if I did want to go back to college or maybe get a job because like I said, I wanted to get back together with Ophelia. And one of the things that I said might have been a problem was like we were in different stages of life or whatever. And I thought maybe if I was independent and working, she would be more interested in, being in a relationship with me. But I didn't know for sure. I was like, maybe she would actually want me to be in college and working towards a degree or whatever. So I was just like, you know, I'll just, see what happens when I try to ask her to be my girlfriend again. And I set like a deadline in like early December for me to ask her and for me to like improve in Vietnamese. And I wanted to like look better physically for her. I didn't really get that far. I didn't really know what I was doing. Uh, but yeah, well actually I did lose a lot of weight because I gained a lot of weight when I moved in by myself because I was eating really badly. I was like going out to eat all the time. But yeah. In any case, so that job at Chili's didn't work out, and I was kind of like, my mom wanted me to get a new job, and my lease was about to expire for my apartment and stuff, and I would basically be completely broke at that point because like I had to spend all my money on expenses and rent and all this stuff for like the 5 or 6 months or whatever that I was not working. I was at this apartment. Um, I don't know if it was that long. It might have been like 4 months or 3 months or something. But I don't know. It was a while that I was like not working. And yeah, so I ended up applying for a job. I was applying for jobs in the New Orleans area, not in the Baton Rouge area, because I was gonna be moving back with my mom soon. And I ended up getting a job at the airport, and it was cleaning the planes of like the insides of the planes of the Delta airplanes. And I was like, that sounds like a pretty easy job. It sounds like it might be interesting in its own way. And I was like, yeah. So I applied. I was regular. It was relatively easy to get the job, and I was like, I can work at this job, and I'll do it for like up until maybe May or like June or whatever when summer classes start. And that's plenty of time to like work there, save some money, and think about like, do I want to get a like an actual job for like a career job, like full time job, or do I want to just like go back to school like I had originally thought. So yeah, and I ended up moving back in with my parents, and that was a very hard thing to do, and I've been living with them ever since November of 2022, and it's been very tough getting back to living with them, and I regret losing that job so much because I'm just like I'm stuck with my parents again. I just wish I was by myself still, and I am, I hate myself for being so stupid about all this. And I don't know if maybe I could have. actually stayed at that job long term. But I really wish I would have just tried to stick it out longer and maybe, you know, try to at least if like stay at that job but then look for other jobs while I'm there, or maybe just try to stick it out and wait till I finish that apprenticeship, and then once I was like a actual qualified jeweler, maybe trying to go to some other jewelry store somewhere else, or just trying to like take time off to recharge my batteries and maybe then try and like to get back at it with work. But I didn't think of that. I just thought either I'll get a job, once I quit this job, or else just kill myself, and I'll be dead and I won't care about anything. And while that didn't really work out, none of those things worked out. So, yeah. In any case, I'm going to pick this up in the next video and I'm going to talk about my, my attempt to get back with Ophelia and, the job and all that, the new job at the airport. And yeah, we'll talk about that in the next video. So I hope you guys will like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.